Okay, so what if I told you that we're about to unpack just two sentences from an ancient letter, but that those two sentences claim to hold the literal secret to the universe? It's a massive claim, I know. So let's dive in and see what's really behind it.
So, what are the stakes here, really? Well, the source we're looking at today doesn't treat this like some vague philosophy. No, this is presented as a literal matter of life and death. It's not just about ancient history, it's described as the core mechanics of existence, and how we react to it, well, that has eternal consequences. And that really brings us to the central question for this whole explainer. What is this massive secret? And what on earth does it mean to call it a pillar of truth? As we're about to see, this isn't just a flowery metaphor. It's the absolute foundation for the worldview we're exploring today. Now, before we get to the secret itself, we need a little bit of context. The letter we're talking about, 1 Timothy, was written by the Apostle Paul somewhere around 60 AD. Now, think about that for a second. That's incredibly early. We're talking within a single generation of Jesus' life, a time when eyewitnesses would have still been around. And it's right here that Paul drops this truly radical idea about where you can find God's truth. Okay, this is where things get really interesting, because it completely flips a common idea on its head. When Paul calls the church the house of God, he's not talking about a cathedral or some building made of brick and mortar. The source is crystal clear. This is a living, breathing structure. It's a community of people who are actually described as living stones, with Jesus as the chief cornerstone that holds the whole thing together. So the church isn't a place you visit, it's a people you're a part of. So this living house has a pretty important job: to hold up the truth. And that truth is wrapped up in a phrase that just grabs you right away. Great is the mystery of godliness. So let's pull back that curtain and unpack what this mystery actually is. First things first, we've got to get the definition of mystery right. See, when you and I hear that word, we think of a whodunit, right? A puzzle to solve. But that's not what it means here at all. In this context, a mystery is a secret that has been revealed. It's like a cosmic curtain has been pulled back. For ages, this truth was hidden, but now the stage lights are on and the secret is out in the open for everyone to see. So what was behind that curtain? Well, the source material breaks this great mystery down into 6 distinct parts. Think of them as 6 foundational pillars of this truth. So let's just take them one by one. The first pillar is the incarnation. I mean, this is the mind-bending claim that the infinite creator of the universe didn't just send a memo, but actually became one of us, a finite human being. Why the flesh? The source argues that this was absolutely necessary. He had to become one of us in order to save us. But anyone can claim to be divine. So what was the proof? What was the validation? That's our second pillar, justified by the Spirit. Think of it like a cosmic courtroom. When Jesus was executed, the world's verdict was guilty. But the source argues that the Spirit came in and overturned that verdict. And the ultimate vindication, the gavel slam that echoed through eternity, was the resurrection from the dead. And this is where the camera kind of pulls back, way back. Because this wasn't just some human drama playing out on a dusty hill. The third pillar says he was seen by angels. The source really highlights this, that an invisible, supernatural audience was watching the whole thing, not just as casual observers, but as official witnesses to the single most important event in cosmic history. And that incredible scope brilliantly sets up the next plot twist. The fourth pillar is that this message was preached among the Gentiles, that is, the non-Jewish nations. I mean, you have to understand how shocking this was at the time. A message that was widely expected to be exclusively for the Jewish people suddenly broke its cultural containment field and went global. The source presents this as a key piece of evidence for the mystery's power, which leads perfectly to the fifth point. It wasn't just preached globally, it was believed globally. The source actually treats the very existence of worldwide faith as a miracle in and of itself. I mean, think about it. How does a crucified carpenter from a small town in the middle of nowhere end up with a global following that lasts for thousands of years? The source says the very persistence of this faith is part of the evidence that the mystery is real. And finally, the sixth pillar brings the whole thing full circle. He was received up in glory. This is the ascension. He came down to earth in the flesh, and now he goes back up. The source frames this as God the Father's ultimate stamp of approval. It's like saying, mission accomplished, the work is finished. He's welcomed back, not in defeat, but in total glory. So that's the 6-part mystery. God becomes a man, the Spirit proves who he is, angels watch it happen, The whole world hears about it, people actually believe it, and then heaven welcomes them back. But this is where the source pivots. It goes from what happened to so what? What does this actually mean for you and me?
And the source presents a really stark choice. For the believer, accepting this mystery means your entire life's center of gravity has to shift. It's a path that pretty much guarantees you'll face some opposition. But for the unbeliever, the source describes a state of being, well, oblivious, fundamentally out of alignment with the very fabric of reality. But the source doesn't just frame unbelief as some kind of legal mistake. It uses this phrase that really just jumps off the page: robbed of knowing the wonder of God. And that suggests that rejecting this mystery isn't just about breaking a rule, it's a profound loss. It's being deprived of something beautiful and absolutely essential to what it means to be human. And this brings us all the way back to where we started, that living pillar of truth, made up of people. The entire job of these living stones is to hold up and display this incredible mystery we just unpacked. But that leads to one final, lingering question that the source kind of leaves us to wrestle with. And here it is. If the church, the actual people who form this pillar, if they crack, if its members fail to faithfully reflect this mystery in how they live, what happens then? Does the world lose its only access to this revealed truth? It's a huge, powerful question about responsibility that puts the weight right back on those living stones. And it's definitely something to think about long after this explainer is over.